But you can do a couple of questions, November.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Senator, and personally, thank you for those kind words. We're
well
glad
deserved.
that you're able to stay and have a couple of questions, so let me ask the first question.
Yeah, okay.
It's terrific to hear you be optimistic like this, and to the audience, I want to say we always talk about how important it is to see real leadership. You are seeing real leadership. This is terrific.
Thank you.
But we also know that prior bills have had such a sketchy end,
Yes.
and they've by and large foundered on the A issue, amnesty and the shutting down of the phone lines and people being frightened away from
Yes.
voting. What do you see happening that would change that this
Well, I think two things have happened since the last bill. The first thing that's happened is that people have sort of changed their view, and they really want a solution. All the polling that I have seen, when you ask the American people, do you prefer a comprehensive solution to simply just deporting everybody, or to no amnesty or some other kind of slogan, overwhelmingly people support a comprehensive solution. They want it to be real, they want it to be fair, but they do want a solution once and for all. And at least I have found that sort of the white heat that you correctly point out that sunk the last bill that Senators Kennedy and McCain both courageously tried to put together, it's still there. And there certainly will be commentators and others who try to gin it up. But it's not as intense. And the intensity for actually solving the problem is much greater. The second thing I'd say to you is this. I think there's a much more realistic view on behalf of the advocates and others. I think the number one reason the bill failed last time was not only the view, what you stated, Doris, what happened, but there was sort of a feeling that the bill wasn't tough enough on illegal immigration. As I mentioned, when Democrats in particular used the word undocumented workers, that just sent a signal. Oh, you really don't think this is bad? And the American people sort of didn't trust the motivation. Furthermore, I will tell you that the employer-sanctioned parts of the bill, which are the most important to stopping the flows of future illegal immigration, because despite what some might say, oh, the illegal immigrants are coming here for benefits, they're not. They're coming for jobs. But I wasn't convinced it was that tight. And I was for the bill. There were just too many ways to get around it. And I think that people actually smell. The public will not know the details of what we do. They have their families and their lives and the happinesses and sadnesses and the ups and downs of life. They don't have time to study the details. But the public, I have found in my 35 years in elected office, is pretty good at smelling stuff. They sort of get it. And if they sort of smell you're not serious about illegal immigration, they're going to turn off everything. And we're going to be really serious about it, as my speech showed. And I was very heartened. The best meeting I had is I called in some of the leading pro-immigration advocates. And I said, well, we have to stop illegal immigration. I thought they'd all say, no, 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 don't say illegal, don't say illegal. And I said, I'm going to say that. And they understood. So I think on the part of the left, there's a greater understanding that we really have to be as sympathetic as we are to poor people struggling, just to, send $1 home a week or a day, that unless we convince Americans that we're going to be really tough and we have strong sanctions, I'm sure the civil libertarians will object to some kind of biometric card, although it'll be something, there'll be all kinds of protections. But we're going to have to do it. It's the only way to do it. And so I think there's an awareness on some of us who want to do who want to do away with illegal immigration and do reform on both the illegal and legal side, that we're going to have to do some really hard things. And that's going to make the difference. But the mood is different. I also think, frankly, that many of my colleagues on the Republican side of the aisle are scratching their heads and wondering and say, if right now 6% of new Hispanic registrants regard themselves as Republican, that they better do some rethinking. And so you put all that together, and I think we can do it. But we have to keep our eye on the ball and not let various interest groups, those we like and those we don't like, sort of pick away at the bill so that you end up with mush.
Senator, one more question, if I can. Your talk did not say anything about the current economic crisis, and you'll read in the paper from time to time that with unemployment likely rising through the next year, this is no time to legalize 10 million undocumented workers. What's your answer? Again,
I think Americans, want the system fixed. And at a time of high unemployment, while the flow of illegal immigrants has declined, it's still continuing. And I think if you can convince Americans that we're going to rationalize the system in ways that will minimize the number of jobs taken away from Americans, but maximize our economic pie and economic growth, even at a time of in a difficult economy, they are willing to accept it. And frankly, the polling data is better for immigration reform today than it was a year or two ago when the economy was better, in terms of, the people who say, put together a comprehensive, fair proposal. Last one from Doris. Go ahead.
The last question from me. I would like to know, in light of the White House meeting tomorrow, how you are going to convince the administration to take a more forward-leaning stance.
Okay. I think the president would like to do immigration reform. I think that he's got a very busy plate, but I don't think they'll need convincing. I think if they can see, if you will, a pathway to produce reform, the president will be a very forceful advocate and the most important ally we can have, and I expect that that's exactly what he will be.
Senator, thank you so very much for being here.
Thank you, everybody. Good to see you. Thank you. Thanks, Doris. Thank you, everybody.